emotional.
I love it.
Really?
Yeah. Don't be doing bloopers.
I love it.
Right, so welcome to the Jamie and Stephen Show. Let's talk movies, music, and magic. And we have our first guest.
We do.
I'm so excited.
We should put her in the title.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sophie.
Hi guys, how are you doing? It's so nice to be here.
So Sophie, Most Magical Guides, you have a YouTube channel,
Yes.
a blog,
Yep.
and most recently a podcast.
Yes, branching out in all directions.
Yeah. Have I missed anything out, or is it all three?
No, but this year I've also started a little business. So I've got a website as well now.
Of course, yes, because you provide bookings for dining,
Yes.
planners.
Yep.
Yeah.
Planning services, Zoom calls, going everywhere. I'll probably be annoying. I'll probably get banned from the internet. They're like, please stop putting things on the internet.
No, I mean, I've been following you ever since it was when we were planning on getting the annual pass.
Amazing.
So this was probably about 3 years ago, and it was your Hotel Campanile video.
Yes.
That was the first one we
so
saw.
exciting.
And then the next video that we watched was when you were able to get everything into one backpack.
Yes. I was so pleased with that.
And it was after that, I was like to Ben, my husband, I was like, oh, we need to follow her. Yeah. So,
I love
yeah.
it.
And then,
So, hang on. Everything for a trip in a backpack.
yeah, in a backpack.
It was unbelievable. I don't know how I did it because I'm normally a massive overpacker, and still to this day I'm like, how?
Okay, we need to make her our leader.
I know.
Like, when's the next vote?
Yeah.
It's amazing. But yeah, I was blown away. And then I didn't buy anything on the trip. And then literally 5 minutes before I left the park, I bought this like animatronic Grogu that was like really big and wouldn't fit in the bag. And I was like, I'm just going to have to carry this and pretend it's an actual child.
Kind of.
Oh, fun. Now, I also want to apologise in advance because I've noticed you're wearing headphones and I cackle when I laugh.
I
So
love that.
hopefully it won't come out too loud.
No, it's
Or give
all good.
Break.
I've listened to loud music for many years, so I've probably gone a bit deaf, so it's perfect. I can't wait to hear
Okay.
it.
So we wanted to ask some questions and do a little interview so that, you know, the 5 people that follow us, if for some reason they don't follow you already. So I'm gonna so Most Magical Guides, and I just wanted to know, what was your earliest Disney memory?
Ooh. Well, so I obviously grew up watching the films, like everyone, and like being born in the 80s, you're like, it was your whole childhood. It had massive renaissance where you had all the amazing Disney films coming out. Then I actually went to Disneyland Paris the year it opened, which makes me feel very old now. And that was just so incredible because I'd never been to a Disney park up until that point. Also, I was a big Michael Jackson fan, and whilst I was there, we were trying to use the swimming pool in the hotel, and we couldn't because Michael Jackson was using it. So that's something that really sticks in my mind. And I was like, "Oh, this is like the most 90s thing that's ever happened." Chimp was also there, and I was like, this is amazing.
Oh my God!
It was wild, but I just remember, you know, it is that, you know, the grandeur of the big castle and meeting your favorite characters, and it's just so exciting, especially like when you've been watching the films and then you see these people in real life.
Yeah.
It's so good, and then you just get hooked, and then it becomes a very expensive hobby as an adult.
See, I was also at Disneyland Paris as well the year it
Yes,
opened.
amazing.
My family took me in the May,
Yes,
and they'd taken me on Star Tours first.
amazing.
I screamed the place down and had to take it, like, dragged off the ride. And then I refused to go and see Captain Nemo. And obviously it got taken away. I think, didn't it get replaced with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah. And then now it's Magique.
yes.
I love Film Magic.
So,
It's so cute.
yeah, I saw that.
I love that.
But yeah, obviously now I'm an adult and looking back, I do feel a bit silly. But at the time, I was so petrified.
Yes, it's true that happens. I remember I love Phantom Manor now, but when I was very young, I was terrified of it. And then I remember we went back a few years later, and when we were in the queue, I just started crying and being like, "It's so scary! I don't want to go on it." And what happened is there was a chain reaction because all these other kids were like, "She must know what she's talking about," and then they all started crying, and their parents were livid. And they were like, "This kid." It was amazing.
I mean, that links into what you do now.
Yeah, which is the next question, and it was, why did you start your channel, and what was your first video?
So interestingly, so I started the channel in 2021, and I hadn't really planned to do a YouTube channel. Like, I loved watching vlogs, but I actually started out making planning templates, and I was selling them on Etsy. And even though they didn't have anything copyrighted in them, they just said Disney Land Paris or whatever on them. They were like, "This is copyright infringement." So I had to stop selling them on there, and I was like, "Oh, I've made all of these guides." And at that time, I'd also done like ebooks that were like guidebooks. And my friends were like, "Well, if you've got all these tips and advice, why don't you start doing a YouTube channel? Like, you like watching the videos, so why don't you do them?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll try that out." So my first ever video was actually, I actually think the first ever video was a tutorial of how to paint an Olaf Christmas card, which has nothing to do with anything that I do now. Completely unrelated. But my first video, I think, was when I went to Disneyland Paris after the pandemic. So it was a vlog series, and that was an amazing trip because the parks were empty at that point.
Wasn't it?
It was amazing. And it's really funny because at the time it felt really normal, like wearing masks and doing all that stuff. And then you look back now and you're like, "Oh, it's so different." But it was so amazing. And then I was just like hooked, and I was like, "This is so much fun." And getting to meet so many people that love Disney and get Disney. Like,
Yeah.
you talk to like people that are like, "Okay, it's a nice place to go on holiday," and you're like, "You don't get it."
No.
But to connect with so many people that do get it is amazing.
Yeah, and I like when I'm at work,
Yes.
because although we're not supposed to, I will try and wear something that has Disney on it.
I love it.
Mainly like a shirt. And everyone at work will, like, I'm known as the person that they'll go to ask questions about Disney, which I like.
Yes.
But
No,
at the same
it's so
time,
good, isn't
I'm
it?
one of like 250 people, and it's like, how am I the only one?
Yes.
But yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
See, where I work, I got someone, I walked into another office and the radio was on, and they were like, "Oh, Stephen will know, what Disney film is this song from?" And I was like,
I love that.
and the thing is, they were like, "I'm sure it's from Tarzan, I'm sure it's from this." And I was like, "It's The Greatest Showman, it's not Disney." Like,
Oh God.
That's so funny.
Oh,
I love that every pub quiz, they're like, "You've got to be there for any Disney question that might come up."
we did a Disney quiz, didn't we?
yeah, we didn't win.
No.
Yes.
Do you know what it was? I remember one of the questions got wrong. Remember in Inside Out, the question was, "What instrument does Joy play?" Could we think of an accordion?
No, oh, that's a good point. I was thinking then, I have no clue.
I will never forget that.
Yes.
It was put in my brain. I was like, if that ever comes up in another quiz again, I'm not going to forget the answer.
Exactly that.
It's weird because when I did a quiz once at work, and it was like in 1980 whatever, there were 3 songs that hit the charts with the exact same title, but none of the songs were the same. What are the names of that song? Sat there. What do you reckon it is?
Is it Happy Birthday?
No.
Oh. Is it a Disney song?
No.
Okay. Celebration?
No.
Oh. Merry Christmas.
Okay, I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
I love that.
The Power of Love.
Oh, yes!
That's such a good point.
Like, it's I don't know the woman's name, but she belts out.
Yes, you got Jennifer Rush.
Yeah.
Then you've got
Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
I don't know his name, where it's The Power of Love.
Yes. Yes, it's so funny actually. I went to see the Back to the Future musical, and obviously Power of Love features in that.
Yeah.
Because there are so many songs with that title, when I came out, I met up with a friend and she said, did they have The Power of Love in that? And I was thinking of Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and I was like, no, why would they have that in it? And I completely forgot that it wasn't that version she was talking about.
Oh, I love Back to the Future. Was the musical good?
Unreal. I saw it twice in a year because it was so good. It's ridiculous. It's so fun.
Oh, we were speaking earlier. We're going to see the Steps musical.
Amazing. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's epic.
I know, we can't wait. We're so excited. We've just been planning out how we're going to get there.
Yes.
I mean, it's
oh my
still
God.
3 months away, but still.
Yeah.
Yes.
I offered to drive. I can't drive, but I've offered.
I love that.
We are going.
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll find a way.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So the next question I have for you is, do you prefer solo traveling or traveling with a member of your family, friend?
I don't know if I should make it public, but I do like solo trips. I think it's because it's just that freedom to do whatever you want whenever you want. And the thing that's really fun when you travel with other people is you get to share the memories, and then you get to like talk about, oh my God, wasn't it funny when this happened, or whatever it is. But of course, there's always got to be some compromise, and if you're with a bigger group, there's a lot of compromises between lots of different people, so it can be a bit complex. So whenever I go with other people, I'm always like, okay, like we'll do what they fancy. Because especially if they don't go that often, I'm like, let's prioritize what they want. When I'm solo, I'm like, I could do whatever I like. It's so exciting, and it's just great. Like the rides that I'm not like keen on, mostly because they make me feel ill. I can just go, if I want to go on a kids ride 4 times in a row, I can do that. And I just love the freedom of it, and it's just so nice. And especially like when you do like these bigger trips to the US parks where it's so expensive as well, it's hard to find people that can pay out that much. So going solo and you're like, brilliant, I'm just going to hop on a plane and I'll be in America and Disney soon. It's the best.
I know. And you go soon, don't you?
Yes, 2 weeks today, which is very exciting.
And you're going solo?
Yes, solo again. But this time what's lucky is because of the YouTube channel, I've ended up getting to know so many people, like other vloggers and stuff like that. So when I'm out there, some people I know that live in Orlando or in the US in general, we're all going to meet up, which is going to be amazing. So it's going to be lovely.
And are you just doing Disney this time, or are you going to try and do Universal again? Or
so I'm gonna do one night at Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay.
That's the only thing I'm doing. But I didn't get to Halloween Horror Nights last time because of the hurricane. So this time but I'm meeting up with someone, because last time I don't know what I was thinking, because I was like, I'll go to that solo. Love horror films, hate haunted houses. I will not cope. Like and I'm like, thank God there was a hurricane and it cancelled it. But this time I'm going with someone. I have pre-warned them. I was like, I will scream and I will apologise in advance, but I will be terrified.
Yeah, last year's ones we watched a lot of them. Like, do you watch Ordinary Adventures?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw all their ones.
Yeah.
And do you watch oh, it's the guy that does Japan. He's Canadian.
I know who you're thinking of. I can't think of the name, but I know who you're thinking of.
Yeah, and
Just
he
plug in loads of videos now.
he tried to do all the Universal nights last year, didn't he?
Yes. I have not seen this, but that sounds epic.
I'm sure that's what I'm sure he did that last year. But yeah, they looked really good.
We went to California after the Halloween night, the horror night, and all of the merchandise was like 70% off.
Oh my God, that's a dream.
We were picking up like these t-shirts and pins and everything, and it was like, that's $3 for that t-shirt, please, and that's with tax. So I recommend
doing that. That's the way to do it, isn't it? Nobody was the top tip.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I love it.
And speaking of the parks, so the next question is, now I know obviously Florida is big, so when I say park, you can say specific.
Okay.
You know, like whether it's Hollywood Studios, Hollywood Studios around the kingdom. So of all the ones you've been to, which is your favorite?
I actually think it's Disneyland in Anaheim, and I think it's just because you really feel the history there, and there's so many original attractions that you can only find there, and it's just so beautiful as a park. It's you really feel Walt in the park, and I was obsessed with it. Like, and it's interesting because I have been before, but once was like 1 day, once was 3 days, but both of them were at really, really busy times of the year, and I didn't really love it. And this time I was like, I want to go back and do it properly and go for a longer trip and actually do like research into the best way to do it. And the experience was completely different. And now I'm like full blown obsessed with Disneyland. Like I can't stop thinking about it.
Oh.
About it. And it's just like, yeah, it's just like the ultimate Disney park. And I think if you love Disney, it's definitely worth trying to get out there once, because it's just you get all of that history and the roaming characters. Like the park feels so alive because of it.
Right, okay.
I was just blown away. And like you see all these fun interactions. Like I saw a moment where Cruella de Vil was walking down Main Street, and then Mickey came along with Pluto and Goofy, and she was trying to kidnap Pluto because obviously he's a dog. And I was like, it's brilliant. And there's all these like really fun little interactions you have, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, I think the character of Roman's good. I mean, Disneyland Paris sometimes does that.
Sometimes.
Obviously you get that in Avengers Campus the most.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that's better than having to queue up
100%.
time.
And that's
Yeah.
even if you don't have like a photo with them or whatever, because you get these little interactions, they're more memorable, I think.
Yeah, magical moments.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that about Avengers Campus, but I've only ever experienced it once. Every single time I go, they're not out. And I'm like, what am I doing? Am I personally being victimized? Like, is it me? Because the one time I went, it was incredible when they were all out. And I've never seen them since.
Do you know what? When we went to California last year, we went past the, I still call it the Tower of Terror.
Yes.
And the Star-Lord was outside, and so was Groot.
Oh, yes.
Well, oh, we've got to queue up for Groot. We've got to queue up for Groot. And then Groot went in. He left.
Oh, no.
And it was like, okay, well, we'll go get Star-Lord. And then Star-Lord left. And I was like, I'm not doing this again.
Exactly.
Done with you.
It feels personal by this point. You're like,
no. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And there's nothing worse than when you swap over and it's a character that you don't like.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so true. I remember once me and my friend went to
okay, and Jesse comes out. It's like, no.
Me and my friend once, we queued up ages to go to the Princess Pavilion, and as we were waiting, we saw Belle go in, and we were like, perfect, that's who we want to meet, not realizing that they had two different rooms. So when we got to the front and they said, do you speak English or French? We said English, and then they sent us to meet Cinderella. And I was like, oh, if I'd have known, I would have just been like, I know she's not real. Like, I'll happily just take a photo with her. I don't need to speak to her. I'm so glad we didn't get to meet Belle.
We never got to pick this time. They don't let you know who the princess is now.
Yes, interesting.
When we went in July, we queued up because the queue was small for Jacob. And because obviously, I know how busy that place is, and I didn't want to be standing there for a long time and then get a princess that we didn't really want.
Yeah.
And obviously, they must get that a lot. And so when I asked, oh, can you tell me what the princess is? She says, no, we don't do that anymore. It's a surprise. Now, we got Belle. Thank God.
Yes.
And she was amazing. Absolutely amazing. One of the best interactions we've had with Jacob. And he spoke to her and everything. It was fab. I have no idea who the other princess is because we weren't allowed to see photos, nothing. And people were told as they were leaving, don't spoil the surprise for others waiting in the queue. So yeah, that's what it is now.
See, we got a lot of princess meets in Florida, in Cinderella's breakfast. We went for breakfast in the castle. But we also did one of the princess meets in the room, and you walk in, and in this one, it was Rapunzel. It was lovely.
Yeah.
And then it was Tiana in the next one. But as we were taking the photo, I realised there was a gap between me and her, and she realised there was a gap. So she stepped backwards and I stepped forwards, and my hand was where her bottom would be.
Oh, no.
I used Tiana. And her photo, her eyes are wide. Because she realised what's happened. And all I wanted afterwards was to go, no, it's fine, I'm gay, I'm not going to. that. Like, where's Naveen?
I love that.
Like,
I absolutely love that the photo captured the moment.
yes, the exact moment. It's because we realised, and it was like, because when I do character meets, I don't like to touch the character because I used to work at Build-A-Bear, and I was sorry if there's any young kids watching listening, but I used to be the bear.
Yes.
And sometimes when people touch you, they don't realise they're doing it or anything like that, but it can be very, very inappropriate.
Yeah.
And I've had people literally like kind of wrap their arms around me, and my arms are in the air like a cat being picked up by a child. And there's nothing I can do about it as we have this photo. But obviously you put your arms down and basically you're trapping someone's arms under your armpit.
Yeah.
And
God.
so when I go to meet and greets, I don't touch the person or the character.
Yeah.
So I was just like lingering. I was consciously making an effort.
Oh, bless you.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think it might have just been a slow week for her.
I love
She
that.
saw me there with my Disney t-shirt that had Prince Dean on it and thought, right.
I love it.
Right, our final question, Sophie, before we get to the quiz,
Love it.
is where do you see your channel in 5 years?
Oh, that's an amazing question. I don't know. I'd love it just to keep growing, because the reason I started the channel was because I am obsessed with planning, and I've literally spent like tens of thousands of hours over the years, like researching everything and tips of how to like get the most out of your trip. And I would meet people, particularly in Disney World, where it's so expensive, and they'd be having a great time, but they weren't getting the most out of it because they didn't know. So I distinctly remember in 2018, I met this couple from the UK who were on their honeymoon, and they were having a good time, but they were like, oh, we had to queue like 3 hours to go on this ride, and we couldn't get any of the dining we wanted because we didn't know you had to pre-book. And I was like, oh no, especially when it's their honeymoon.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I could just give out all these tips and advice that I've learned over the years, and then people can put it into their own holiday and hopefully it'll help. So I'm hoping just to keep doing that. And the long-term goal is I'd love to start actually filming the planning videos in the parks so that you could see it in real time, like how to do things.
Yeah.
That would be so much easier than being like sat at home speaking at camera in certain clips.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. And then just being able to put out as many tips and advice as possible. And it would be amazing to also get to visit the other Disney parks
Yeah.
and experience them, and then the tips and advice for how to book that. I think that would be amazing.
Well, I mean, look, from what I've watched so far, because we watch a lot of different types of vlogs, I think luckily with yours, it does stand out. You know, you've got the vegan tips is straight away. That makes you different to a lot of others. And the fact that you solo travel.
Right, yes.
So, which does make it easier for you to get access to even more tips and advice, because you're not having to drag other people along with you.
Yes, and I think especially it's also easy to vlog that way, because you say you're not with other people and having to think about like, oh, I don't want to like interrupt this or whatever it is. Like, it's a lot easier when you're solo. But that's actually an interesting point, because I've always solo traveled since I was like 18. I've traveled all over Europe and America, love solo traveling, and I always assumed that everyone else that solo traveled was the same. But what's really interesting is I've quickly learned is at Disney, a lot of people do solo trips just because people maybe aren't free when they want to go, or don't have an interest, or don't have the money. And that's so interesting because it really changes the way I can offer tips and advice. Because if you're giving tips and advice to people who love the solo travel experience, it's kind of easy. But then there's this whole other dimension now where it's like, oh, if you're nervous about solo traveling, or like, how do you do this as a solo traveler? So that's been amazing.
Oh, fab.
What I liked, because I've been listening to your podcasts and I'm a little bit behind. That I do. You've just done the food one. That's the one I've just listened to, and it was with
the bear and the princess.
And what I really liked about that podcast was you talked, because I'm a bit odd compared to everyone else. So when I've been to Disney World and to Disneyland Paris, I like going around the hotels.
Yes.
And when you start talking about the restaurants and things, and as soon as I finished listening to that podcast, there was a restaurant you mentioned in the Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yes.
Had no idea that existed.
Amazing.
Absolutely no idea. So the fact that you were able to kind of it, because I've been to, as I say, all the hotels.
Yep.
In the world. I've been in each one, been in the shops.
Yeah, you've got the Christmas ornaments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes. I love it.
And to learn something new.
Yeah.
And so just have those little tips where actually, I assume that if you're going as a family, you probably wouldn't go around all of the hotels and things. Yeah. But, I've only been to Disney parks as an adult, as a grown up, as some people call it. So to find something like that, that's a case of, oh, well, next time we go, that's something I want to go and do. It's not in any of the parks, and it's because of, people like you who do those podcasts, do those different bits. That's like, brilliant. Because Disney don't advertise any of that.
Oh, no.
And, I know a lot more about the films than I do about the parks. So it's, it's really, really helpful.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, I'm the same as you. That I love listening to like podcasts or vlogs because, like you say, you always find little tips and advice. And particularly, I think when I first started watching vlogs, it was locals to Disney World, because I was like, they have such a different perspective and experience to how we would go. But then, like you say, because they've been to the park loads, they know like the little unknown things. And I was like, oh, this is the way to get the information.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Ben always says to me, well, why don't you apply and we'll all go over there and live? And I'm like, be real.
Florida. I don't know if Florida is the best place to live at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, hey, wish that we could go more than once in a blue moon, but but yes. Right, quiz time.
Oh my god.
Okay, so shall we do yours first or my first?
Oh, well, I've got a quick rapid round kind of thing. So this literally, it's not so much a quiz.
Okay, this is good news, because as I said, I am terrible at remembering things. Where I'm like good at parks, bad at films and movies.
Oh, you don't need to. It's a personal opinion thing.
Oh.
So basically, I'm going to name two things, and you've just got to tell me which one you like best.
Fabulous.
Yeah, so there's no knowledge involved whatsoever.
This is good. I don't need to use the brain, which is handy.
You just have to clear your mind.
Let the answer come to me.
So just say the first one that comes to you.
Perfect.
So I'll just keep reading them and going through. So Buzz or Woody?
Woody.
Mickey or Minnie?
Mickey.
Marvel or Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Elsa or Anna?
Elsa.
Cogsworth or Lumiere?
Lumiere.
Pooh or Tigger?
Tigger.
Jafar or Scar?
Ooh, that's a hard one. Oh, because they're both not good people. Oh. I'm going to say Jafar, because I think Scar's really bad.
Pocahontas or Mulan?
Ooh. Okay, I think Pocahontas.
Yeah, that was the right answer, by the way.
I'm winning at the quiz.
Mike or Sully?
Ooh, Mike.
Flounder or Sebastian?
Sebastian.
Baloo or King Louis?
Oh, King Louis. He's pretty cool.
Cinderella or Snow White?
Snow White.
I think I know the answer to the next one. Belle or Ariel?
Belle.
Frozen 1 or Frozen 2?
Ooh, Frozen 1.
Tinkerbell or the Genie?
Genie.
The parks at Christmas or at Halloween?
Oh no, this is so difficult. I think Christmas, because they literally are like magic.
You know what? So I put these together when I was thinking, depends which park you're at. Because I find Halloween at California amazing.
Yep.
But Christmas in Florida is better than Paris.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's such a good point.
Yeah. The animated Lion King or the live action Lion King?
Animated, not just the Lion King, literally all of them.
Yay!
The live action ones.
There we go. You passed the
the
interview.
test. Yeah. That was a
Yeah.
secret test.
That's the secret, yes.
Otherwise, this would have ended here. Like,
Yeah.
sort of.
Just to finish off the ones, Flynn Rider or Christoph?
Ooh, Flynn Rider.
Bernard or Bianca?
Bianca, the style icon.
Esmeralda or Meg?
Meg.
Hades or Ursula?
Ooh, oh no, this is another hard one. Ursula, I think.
Todd or Copper?
Copper.
It's a Small World or Pirates of the Caribbean?
Pirates.
And Walt Disney or Roy Disney?
Gotta be Walt.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone I've asked that
Yeah.
to has picked Walt.
Yeah.
Well
Poor Roy.
done.
We should get someone to do a sympathy vote for Roy.
That's my vote.
I love that. It's perfect.
Right, and my quiz is to do with the film that you're
Okay.
on the podcast for, which
Perfect.
people have listened to last week's podcast. It's the Rescuers Down Under.
Yes.
Okay. So I have 6 questions. They're not too hard. So
Okay, good.
yeah, fingers crossed. You'll have paid attention when rewatching the film.
Yes.
Did you manage to rewatch the film?
Yes, I did. Here's the thing. So I watched it. Was it yesterday or the day before? So I've watched it very, very recently.
Okay.
Like I say, for me, the second I finish a film, it's like the Men in Black turn up and they raise my memory. So this will be very useful to know if I have 2 days retention.
Right. Well, this shall test that brain of yours to see if any of it stayed in there.
Perfect.
Okay. So
Yeah.
question number 1. Who does Cody rescue from the poacher's trap?
Marahute.
Yes.
I love that name. That's how I remembered it because I thought it was a really cool name.
Yeah. Number 2. Which city are Bernard and Bianca in when they receive the message?
New York.
Yes.
Yeah. I really wanted to go New York City, like
Yeah.
in What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, when we did Oliver and Company, we were trying to do our accents with it.
We
failed.
We won't mention that again.
Number 3. Why does Jake try to stop Wilbur from landing?
Ooh. Okay, wait a minute. I should know this. I was gonna say it's a short runway, but that's not the correct terms because it wasn't a runway. I don't actually remember. Jake? No. Why do I not remember this?
Oh, you were going to say it.
Oh no. What was I gonna say?
Wow, that'd be tempting.
I love the way I was like, I'll use reverse psychology and you'll give me the answer.
Yeah, it's because the runway wasn't long enough.
So okay.
It was
good.
that,
It
yeah.
was that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Right. 4. What are Joanna's favourite snacks?
Eggs.
Yes.
She's like Gaston.
Yes. Question 5. What is the doctor's term for a chainsaw when he's seeing to Wilbur?
Oh my god. I can't remember, but I remember thinking it was iconic. It's something like this is not that. I was gonna say I can't remember what it was, but it was not something like nope. Oh, I can't remember. I do remember thinking it was a brilliant name and we should start calling all chainsaws that, but I cannot remember.
Zero?
No, I must have had a nap at that point.
Oh, I always, when I was writing the answer down, I put in epidural, but it's not epidural. It's epidermal tissue disruptor.
Yes! So good!
And the last question, what does Bernard ask Bianca at the end of the film?
Will she marry him?
See, that wasn't too bad.
I know. I'm really impressed. This was a good quiz. And I was like, the brain worked. We know now, if I get asked a question 2 days, I will remember it.
Yeah, we're going to end this episode, but to listeners, so Sophie's YouTube channel is Most Magical Guides. Her podcast is Most Magical Podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
And the
creative.
Yeah. And the blog is mostmagicalguides.com.
Yes.
Winner. You
Right.
can't not remember that.
And the website, you mentioned the website.
You're
Yes. Same as the blog. And
Okay.
it's everything on there, which is good.
I mean, I'll probably share links on our socials as well. So,
Amazing.
you know, for everyone. But yeah.
It's just been a really fun chat. And
I
it's
know!
like-
Good.
So
Well, you know, we're obviously going to have you back on.
Yes, it's been the most fun. I've absolutely loved this.
You watch, it'll be every week. Oh, our next guest, Sophie!
It's so
Sophie
funny.
back again.
the Jamie, Stephen, and
Sophie
Sophie
show. It'll be the Jamie and Stephen show featuring Sophie.
all the same.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
For having me.
Oh, right. Well, as in the words of Sophie, hope everyone has a magical day.
Oh, no, you've got to say the word. Say the word.
Yeah, you say it, Sophie.
You say it.
And until next time, have a most magical day.
Yay!